One of the things that is so frustrating about our coronavirus conversation here across Canada, particularly where I am in Ontario, is this insistence that so many people have to adamantly cling to the notion that kids remain super spreaders of the virus and that schools are a hotbed for it. And that's practically what's driving transmission. That's where it's spreading. That's where it's coming from, despite the fact that officials, particularly pediatric experts, more and more of them are stepping forward and saying that's just not true. It's not the case. It's not what the facts show. It's not what the evidence shows. So how come there are so many people who think otherwise? Well, in some respects, it's hard to blame them based on the media conversation and the government data and reports that fuel that conversation. So the Ontario government, they have a website where they list all of the cases in schools. Now that leads people to believe, oh, well, you got a case spreading in school. Cases in schools does not mean the case was acquired in the school. It simply means that somebody who has tested positive for coronavirus has appeared in that school environment, whether they're a student or whether they're a teacher and so forth. So it's interesting already that we report it that way, because we don't have a reporting module, an open data module that lists all the grocery stores, for instance, in your neighborhood. And whenever someone tests positive for coronavirus, we ask, well, which grocery stores have you been to in the past 14 days? And we mark that off. And then we say cases in your local Loblaws. No, we don't do that. We only do reporting and say a case in a grocery store if it's believed to have been acquired in the grocery store. And by the way, practically hardly any cases have been acquired in grocery stores, but I digress. So that's one thing that's kind of problematic about the conversation around cases in schools and also how we talk about that, how it gets reported. The other is this phrase outbreak. Now, often I will say post a story that I've written about an asymptomatic testing project that has found practically no spread going on in schools of the virus, and someone will just send me a link to a story of a school in their neighborhood, that school shut down after outbreak and so forth, as if to say, well, Furey, you're just completely wrong. Hold on a second. Do you know what that means? An outbreak has occurred? What that technically means is that there has been two or more cases of coronavirus detected within a 14-day period of two people who are in the same cohort, meaning they're in the same class together, in the same sort of outdoor recess module, or they're on the school bus together, that sort of thing, that situation. Now, they're not confirmed that one of these got them from the other. They're just saying, okay, well, they were in close contact and they were, and it was within the same 14-day time span. So perhaps one got it from the other, and that's it. That's what the phrase outbreak means. I mean, as someone who was a young man in the 90s, you had all these disaster movies. One of them was called Outbreak. You think it's like, everybody getting this all of a sudden. It's like this, flash mob of outbreak going on, but that's not actually what it means. Two cases that may not actually even be linked. They're just not really sure. Now, to be sure, there are some instances where there are 5 or 6 reported at one school, but by and large, you go through that website and you see the numbers you see are 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and then again, you get a few higher numbers, but the vast majority of outbreaks in Ontario are also 2, and it's unknown if they are even directly connected to each other. And I think a lot of Ontario parents don't understand that, and I think a lot of people who are so adamant, insistent to believe that, yes, schools are the super spreaders, well, they need to know this information because what they're saying just isn't true.